Hello and welcome to Ministry of Offence, the topical comedy show with jokes like Britain's trains, dirty, badly timed, and you should consider yourself lucky if we get any at all. I'm your host, Stephen Allen, and I'm going to start with a quick recap of the news you might have missed. This week saw the biggest rail strikes in a decade. Train staff need to realise that they are not the only sector who'll lose jobs due to the rise in working from home. More Zoom meetings could really hit demand for trousers, as could getting a job hosting a TV show from behind a desk. Teachers are threatening to strike too, and that could be soon, as not only are they fired up with feelings of injustice, they're also keen that it doesn't interrupt their 6-week summer holiday. We'll know that teachers really mean business once they start sending kids back with homework to make a big glittery poster with the word scab on it. Prince William wants Prince Andrew to vanish from public view. To be honest, I think a lot of us would feel safer if we knew where he was. By the time Prince William's statement that he wants a stripped-down monarchy was properly explained to him, Prince Andrew was already down to his underpants. Priti Patel denied fitting migrants with electronic tags is immoral. Of course it's not. Furthermore, there could be an app where you can check the location of your nearest migrant to see if they'll undercut your regular masseuse. Boris was put under general anaesthetic this week for a sinus operation. It was a difficult procedure because those sinuses were deep inside Boris's anus and belonged to Jacob Rees-Mogg. We've had 2 by-elections this week to replace 2 Tory MPs. One stood down after being caught watching porn in Parliament twice. And he's not even the bad one. The last time the Tories tried to remove a sex pest, he won the vote 211 to 148. And that's your weekly roundup. Time to get on with the show. Of course, no panel show is complete without its panellists, so let's meet the teams fighting for the left. A team captain who threatened to strike unless we gave her a 12% pay rise. If she keeps doing that, in 10 years' time, she'll be getting paid as much as the men on the show. It's Diane Spencer. And her teammate is someone who only got the job because he's my mistress. It's Josh Howie. Fighting for the right is a team captain who was using girls' changing rooms at swimming pools years before all of this trans stuff started. It's Leo Kearse. And joining Leo is a man with a reputation as an intellectual in the comedy world, which is pretty much like having the cleanest foo-foo on Love Island. It's Simon Evans. So here at Ministry of Offence, we ask our teams to tell us which minister they would like to be. So Leo, I'm going to start with you and your team. What ministers are you?
I'll be the Minister for Education, because Nadine Zahawi, he's the real Minister for Education. He's been trying to stop wokeism creeping into universities, which is something I applaud. Some universities have banned clapping. They ban clapping in case it triggers post-traumatic stress in students who've been exposed to clapping, and they've replaced it with finger snapping, but surely that's worse, because what if somebody's been sexually harassed by a jazz singer?
Given that this show is called the Ministry of Offence, I'm going to be the Minister of Offence, because the most controversial policy which the government have introduced in recent memory is, of course, the deportation of undocumented migrants to Rwanda. And I think this is causing an awful lot of kerfuffle and unnecessary anger, and it's a very divisive policy, and it would be much more sensible simply to erect a fence about 500 metres out to sea across the length of the English Channel. So what you do is you equip proper ships with something very similar to the remote control that allows you to just drive up to your garage door slowly and it will open when you come in. But the dinghies won't have that. So the fence just bobs down below the waves and then pops back up again. I see a nice kind of picket fence, a nice old-fashioned white, well-paid. And I would actually employ pensioners who are sitting around doing absolutely bugger all for their money these days. I would employ pensioners to sort of bob around on inflatable chairs just behind the fence and keep an eye on it and wag their fingers if any migrants try and come too close.
The weird thing is, like, Priti Patel has probably written that down.
Yeah. It's got to be in the top 3.
And we cross over to this team. Diane, what are you going to be the Minister of?
I'm the Minister of 17 minutes, because when Boris Johnson was put under, it meant that Dominic Raab was in charge for 17 minutes. And I noticed that in those 17 minutes, he didn't screw anything up. Now, when you consider Dominic Raab's track record, that's quite impressive. So I think that all ministers should have their post for 17 minutes only. Now, I appreciate you might be thinking, well, Di, that's a lot of cabinet reshuffling. We're doing it a couple of times each hour. Yes, but think about this. If they're running from building to building, how much can they screw up in between?
Josh?
I'm going to be the Minister of Starting Diets. And my job entails basically boring everyone to death about how I've just started a diet and how this diet is different from all the other diets, and I'm definitely going to stick with it. And then next week, I'm going to be the Minister of Regret.
Well, that's the introductions out of the way. Let's get this show on the road. Our first round is Viral Load. Each week, the teams pick a video that caught their eye. It could be political, or it could be just something that they find weird or amusing. I will decide which video is more point-worthy. The first one has actually been sent to us by a viewer. Let's take a look.
Ho Chi Minh! Ho Chi Minh! Ho Chi Minh! Ho Chi Minh! Ho Chi Minh!
So, what do you think of these Stalin-loving students?
The guy that caught my attention, they were all dressed in black, and then there was one guy in a blue jacket who was just like, yeah, this'll do. Yeah, mate.
Fed, right?
Yeah.
That's CID blending in, as always.
It's like, mate, go to TK Maxx on the way. It's fine.
I think it's interesting. Ho Chi Minh and Che Guevara are romantic figures. You can see that. They took on colonial powers and they kicked them out of their country, and then things went bad. But Ho Chi Minh was dead by the end of 1969, I think, or something like that. You know, he wasn't Pol Pot. And Che Guevara was a romantic figure, definitely. You know, the world's best-selling T-shirt. It's a bit dodgy to stick Stalin on the end there, isn't it? Because the results are in on Stalin. You know, 30 million dead, and you kind of think you've got to kind of factor that in when you. If I was to march down Brighton High Street shouting, "Hey, Adolf Hitler," you know, there would be some kind of kickback against that, I would imagine. You know, Hitler, and the thatch.
I'm a fan of Stalin, though, because I don't like communists, and he killed 30 million of them.
Yeah.
That's the reason Stalin's there, is because it rhymes. Like, if you'd have to have something that couples with Hitler, and then people would be like, well, that's the only reason he said it.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
This economy couldn't get brittler. Oh, dear.
You guys have really gone to the right this week.
Yeah.
Well, we can move on to the next one. And Diane, what have you got for us this week?
Oh, we have a dog escaping from a gorilla.
Let's take a look.
Hey, good morning, Amy. It was as if the people watching these tense moments unfold were more nervous than this stray dog ever was, as he faced off with gorillas who were defending their turf. But the underdog outmaneuvering his predators as zookeepers jumped into action.
There's something a little bit sinister we're not seeing, isn't there, between the first and second half of that clip? Somehow that woman has got in there with that rope and is not being troubled by a silverback.
Did you see the explosion? Stun grenade. This is like the storming of the Iranian embassy.
Silver hairs everywhere. It's like Josh's bathroom.
I like the way that they show the weights. Like it's some kind of title fight. And in the blue corner, we've got a 60-pound dog. And in the red corner, we've got a 300-pound gorilla. Like, they're not going to box.
I mean, that could be a series of videos. They should put other animals in there and just see how gorillas act. Obviously, like, dogs are meant to be man's best friend. That's not gorilla's best friend. But let's chuck in some turtles. Let's see if they use those as frisbees. Cats. Maybe we're going to get some cute memes out of this. Like, we'll find the gorilla animal that they love.
I remember several years ago, I went to Singapore Zoo, a gig over there. Obviously, wouldn't pay to go to Singapore, but was flown out there, all expenses paid. I had my day free, went to the zoo at Singapore, and they have a number of enclosures where they do have animals paired up in unusual ways, and they live together, orangutans and zebras and so on. Not necessary animals that would know one another in the wild, but they've obviously found combinations that work. And I did wonder, had they sort of experimented, and one or two had probably, okay, that one, that's not a stable mix. You know,
Crossing out, not two pandas, exactly. One panda left it with it.
Well, Leo, let's see what you've got for us this time.
Oh yes, so this is a genuine US Navy training video about the correct use of pronouns.
Oh, Christ.
Because it's 2022.
All right, let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Johnny and I use he, him pronouns.
Hi, and I'm Kanchi and I use she, her pronouns.
And we're here to talk about pronouns. It is a signal of acceptance and respect.
If it's a signal of acceptance and respect, how do we go about creating a safe space for everybody?
That's a good question. A really good way to do that is to use inclusive language. Instead of saying something like, hey guys, you can say, hey everyone, or hey team.
Hey guys, hey team, your video sucks!
Hey team, we're under attack. Chinese Navy, who have realised how entirely emasculated we've become, and they're going to clean up. That's aimed at the US Navy.
Yeah,
the actual
in the Navy.
People, adults, grown-ups.
Not
the children in the Navy.
No.
Even though it's styled like a children's TV show for children who've been dropped on their heads.
That is the most insulting, patronising thing. And why did they get two people whose pronouns were just what you'd expect them to be anyway, only slightly subnormal? But, you've got an opportunity there to go, my pronouns are je and wizard face. There's got to be some mileage.
That's what your beard reminds me of.
Yes.
They're trying to create a safe space, but you're in the military. You're supposed to be dodging cruise missiles, ripping grenade pins out with your teeth. It's not supposed to be a safe space.
Johnny could be like the Steven Seagal character, instead of a cook undercover, he would be like the pronoun officer there. And then terrorists invade, and he's like, hey, they, them, back off.
Or Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Yeah,
they.
I'm not even really supposed to be here, she, they.
I've got a pronoun joke. How does a non-binary samurai kill someone? They/them.
Well, lovely stuff, and I think the most point-worthy video out of those is Leo's Navy pronouns. Moving on now, the next round is clickbait. Yes, in this round we give each of our guests a news story and task them to come up with a headline. In true tabloid style, these headlines need to be punny, funny or downright sensational. Basically anything that's going to draw you in as clickbait. For the red team, here's Diane's story. 840 kilograms of cocaine was found stashed in a shipment of bananas sent to 2 supermarkets in the Czech Republic. The drugs are thought to have originated in Central America and were sent to the stores by mistake.
I love the fact that there might be a drug mule somewhere stood in front of the cartel and he just hands them a normal banana. So I'm going to go with man detained at Gatwick with normal banana up his bottom.
They don't do that, do they? Because I'm going on holiday in a couple of weeks' time. I need to know if that's a detainable offence.
I think it's very suspicious they only found it in 2 supermarkets. I personally think there were more supermarkets it was delivered to, and then the police rocked up and said, oh, did you find this cocaine? And they're like, no. Don't know what you're talking about, Matt.
But they're now open 24 hours.
Those shelves have been stacked really quick.
I just think it's funny that bananas in Eastern Europe have got a higher purity of cocaine than cocaine in London.
Yeah. I think you've got to have something like banana drama.
Banana farmer in drama with farmer.
I hope the story that surrounds bananas, right, and creates is like the big spider that you open up and there's some massive tarantula in there. And I would really like to see the spider that's got all the coke as well and is kind of really kind of giving it large. I would like to see that.
Well, lovely stuff. Let's head back to the right. Let's remind ourselves of the story.
You do look at my brother in a particular way. I'm sure listeners have seen the memes.
My God,
the
I've
memes
had that
of you
so many times.
I've seen the adoring memes. Nadine, I've asked you what he saw in you.
In the same way, and no one ever does memes of that, do they?
No, but I've asked you what he saw in you. What do you see in him?
God, well, first of all, I don't fancy your brother. So just in case you're going to ask me that question next, not a bit.
So, here's the story. Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries has denied having a crush on Boris Johnson, despite the meme showing her looking adoringly at the Prime Minister. In an interview with Johnson's own sister, Dorries said, "I don't fancy him, not a bit." What can you do with that?
Well, I hadn't seen the actual interview before. It's quite interesting seeing her writhing around on the chair and twisting it from side to side, wasn't it? I don't fancy him at all. I don't know. I don't know if I do believe it, but I suppose it's got to be something like, I'm all for Boris, but not for his Johnson. My door is always open. That will appear sooner or later one of these days. I don't know if it's appropriate on this occasion.
This is not good. Sorry. Johnson's gonads.
Gonads. As in, that's her nickname, Nads.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
She does look at him with, like, the kind of loyalty I've only ever seen on French bulldogs. It's quite impressive. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the tube, staring at someone is considered sexual harassment. She has just willingly admitted to sexually harassing both Boris Johnson and Sir Keir Starmer with her starry eyes.
At least she hasn't flashed her ginger growler. I suppose there's got to be, it's a question of degree, isn't it, at this point?
I'm also thinking it's...
He is not talking about me. Let's just clear that out. I appreciate I sometimes do work as one of Angela Rayner's stunt doubles. She can't be expected.
Sorry, did you say stunt double? Any more for any more?
Nadine doesn't want a BJ.
Incompetent fool denies fancying same.
OK, well, lovely stuff. All of those were great, but there can only be one winner. And for that round, the winner is the red team. Now it's time for a break. It's funny because the writers on this show suggested that they should go on strike and I just laughed in their faces. Anyway, stay tuned because coming up next, me and my tiny penis have got lots more in store for you. See you after this.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panelists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence. With the news this week that Rupert Murdoch is soon to be a single man, one of our panel got very excited. Notice you've trimmed your beard, Simon. We're still here with Leo Kearse, Simon Evans, Diane Spencer and Josh Howie. And it's time for our next round, Lie Detector. Our teams are shown some newspaper stories from this week and they must decide which parts of each story are true and which parts are false. So it's fingers on buzzers. Can you spot the lie in this first story? The Speaker of the House of Commons has introduced a new kitten called Thatcher to Westminster as a replacement for his old cat Major. Sir Lindsay Hoyle says his new pet has cruel eyes and is not for turning. What's the lies in there?
Sir Lindsay Hoyle has okayed a back scratcher in the shape of Margaret Thatcher, and it's available to sell from the House of Parliament gift shop for £17.99.
The Thatcher scratcher.
The Thatcher scratcher?
It's not the correct answer, I'm afraid.
Ow.
I'm a little bit confused because he's Labour, or he was Labour. Why is he naming a cat Thatcher? Does he kick it?
It's not the correct answer, I'm afraid.
If I were in the position to christen a Westminster cat, I would name one after one of the Sinn Féin MPs that had always refused doggedly to take their seat in Parliament on principle. Then they would be in there and there's nothing they could do about it. I would name one after Martin McGuinness because that would work on two levels. One, it would annoy Sinn Féin, and secondly, you could go, "Where's McGuinness?" And that would be quite pleasing as well.
Good point.
On the other hand, if you've got a moggy, it's obviously got to be Jacob Rees, isn't it? That would be another good name for it.
It's actually, it is a little cat. Sir Lindsay Hoyle has got a little kitten, and the little kitten's name is Atlee. And Sir Lindsay's madly in love with this little kitten. And there's like little pictures of Sir Lindsay holding up the little kitten, and they're like touching noses. And then it's usually next to a picture of like Larry the cat from Number 10, like sort of growling at it.
Is the correct answer. Named after Clement Attlee, which I believe was the last bald Prime Minister this nation had. Since then there have been 2 female, so where's the real prejudice? So yeah, it's named after Clement Attlee, although, like Thatcher, he does tend to steal the milk. Moving on, can you spot the lie in this next story? Fingers on buzzers. The Catholic Church is building a new centre to train female priests in the Philippines, the first of its kind in Asia. The Vatican says there's been an increase in the number of women wanting to join the church since the COVID crisis began. What are your lies there?
I think that they've built a Pope cave to put the Pope-mobile because they've seen how popular the Marvel films are, so they're going to rename him Pope Man. His arch nemesis is the Fiddler.
Pope Man was bitten by a radioactive Pope.
I just need to address the issue for my fellow nerds who are sat at home right now just going, that's DC, not Marvel.
Yeah. And also, I don't think the Fiddler would be his nemesis. The Fiddler would be who he's covering up.
So maybe they're doing a new convent, and it was people staying at home during lockdown watching Sound of Music has now inspired all these nuns.
Are you telling me the lockdown made you want to be a nun?
Yes. If that would have got me away from homeschooling my family.
I'm going to steal the point here because I did actually see this story. It is it's exorcism, isn't it? The Philippines has seen an enormous rise in reported demonic possessions, and they have created a new training centre for priests to brush up on their exorcism skills.
Is the correct answer?
Yeah.
Yep, I can tell you it's a centre to train exorcists, as there's been an increase in people needing exorcism since the COVID crisis began. Everyone fingers on buzzers, here comes the next lie-laden story. A 66-year-old man was turned away from donating blood because he refused to take a breath test. The clinic said it could not accept his blood, as it's not always clear whether someone's been drinking. What's the lie there?
I think the lie is simply that it wouldn't be a problem to donate blood when you're drunk. You just leave the blood in a dark room overnight to sober up.
Surely you wouldn't mind, would you, if they said you could either die or have this blood with a bit of alcohol in it?
With the cost of living crisis, I reckon if you could offer somebody a free pint but they had to donate blood immediately afterwards, a lot of people would go with that.
I do actually know the story. He's a 66-year-old man and he's donated 125 pints of blood.
Well, he must be dead by now.
Across some years, 20 years or something. But he's donated a lot of blood, and he turned up to donate blood again. But now they asked him if he's pregnant, so he refused to answer the question. And they said, well, we can't take your blood because you might be pregnant.
But as you say, 66, so clearly gone through the menopause. Well, it is the correct answer.
Wow.
Yeah, the truth is that he refused to sign a form asking whether he was pregnant or not. The man took great offence at this, telling the clinic that he always wore protection, and did they think he was some kind of slag? So here's the last lie-laden detector story. Fingers on buzzers for this one. Tourists that use towels to reserve the best beach spots in the Spanish city of Vigo will now face a £645 fine. The new laws ban psychological tactics to claim sunbathing areas near the beach or sea. What are your lies in there?
What I do is I just always kick out my kids at 6 in the morning and just send them down to the beach, and then I'll rock up about 11 and be like, all right, you can go have breakfast now.
I think is the lie that there's no £645 fine, but if you are found putting your towel on the beach to save a place, you get sent to Rwanda. It's just become the new cure-all for any crime.
This is in Spain, though, right? Are they trying to scare off? Because the British don't do this. So it's the Germans, right? This is a stereotypically German behaviour. We all know that. I'll tell you what the Brits do. They do piss in the sea. Maybe they'd have a go at us for that. I don't know.
Is the correct answer.
Ah, well, there you go.
I can tell you that actually it's tourists that we in the sea who will now face a £645 fine. I mean, that's taking the piss. I believe it's still okay to wee on someone if they are stung by a jellyfish. Although, speaking from personal experience, it's best to ask first. So the winner of that round is the blue team. So now it's time for our next game, Spin Doctors. In this round, each team has to take on the role of spin doctor and attempt to defend something indefensible. This week, I've decided, Leo, your team is going to go first, and you will be defending the right for everyone to go on strike. And here's a little reminder of what's been happening.
Because the list of professions planning industrial actions is growing every day. Today, criminal barristers in England and Wales have voted to stage a series of court walkouts starting next week as they demand an immediate wage increase of 15%. Teachers and NHS workers are also threatening to take action over public sector pay.
Yeah, we think everybody should go on strike because we've got a general election coming up in a couple of years, and this would be a good simulation of what life would be like under a Labour government. Yeah, we've got self-driving cars now. Why are we still putting drivers and paying them like 60 grand or whatever to drive tubes? It's just a glorified hamster run. They should go on strike because their demands are very reasonable. I've got a list of their demands here. This is some of the stuff. This is some of the stuff that genuinely the RMT union has successfully argued for and got. So if you're on your lunch break and you're an RMT union member and your boss talks to you while you're having your lunch break starts over again. The clock starts again. That's ingenuine. Also, they can't send just one person to change a plug socket. How many people do you think the RMT would send to change a plug socket? 4. It's 9. 9 people. And not only that, but they have to go in separate vans because they can't share a van. You'll see them marching at climate change conferences. You see these unions with their banners. Oh, we're going to save the planet. They all got there in separate vans.
There's a lot of them, a lot of strikes planned. The postal workers, I think there's 115,000 Royal Mail delivery staff are considering striking, and once again, I support that very strongly. I think a couple of weeks without postal deliveries, everyone would realise how much better their lives are without stupidly ridiculous, heavyweight, high-quality catalogues, like retail catalogues aimed at my wife called things like Toast or Snuggle. 2 weeks without those, my life would be improved immeasurably. And you might be thinking, what about Amazon packages? I've got about as much chance of being in the Amazon as I have of being at home when those are delivered, it seems. And instead, what they should have is Amazon parcels should be now delivered by drone, and they should be dropped down a little into a sort of shaft, into a chute where your chimney used to be. And that will bring back the need for sweeps, chimney sweeps, who are nice kind of operatives, nice working class people, not like postal workers.
Of course, teachers should go on strike and see if anybody notices. They're on holiday for like 10 months a year, as it is.
Because it sounds to me like you're saying that they should all be sacked.
They'll be striking, and then when they come back, they'll find there are no jobs left for them. That's exactly what I'm saying. And they won't even be able to throw themselves under a train to kill themselves, because now the trains will be operated by apps that are capable of braking in time when people throw in front of them. They'll have to throw themselves under a lawyer.
Are you guys afraid that you might be victims of your own success because people are going to go stay at home and be like, oh yeah, I did this for 2 years?
That seems to be exactly what the train drivers are doing. They were bailed out. £16 billion of taxpayers' money bailed them out over lockdown. Now they've gone back to work and they're like, man, I miss doing nothing. Let's go and strike. Look, it's sunny outside. Let's have a barbecue. Call a strike.
Lovely stuff. Let's now head over to the red team. Diane, your team will be spinning the right to employ your mistress. Let's remind ourselves of why we're talking about this particular issue.
Prime Minister, has he ever considered the appointment of his current spouse to a government post or to any organisation in one of the royal households? Be honest, Prime Minister, yes or no?
Yes or no? Mr. Speaker, I know why the party opposite wants to talk about non-existent jobs in the media, Mr. Speaker, because they don't want to talk about what's going on in the real world.
Dan and Josh, take it away.
He had to give Carrie an opportunity, let's say that he did offer that job to Carrie, right? Of course he had to do it, and Carrie would have taken it, because at least then if she's working with Boris, she can check that he's not cheating on her as well. Very crucial. So they should have their mistresses in the Houses of Parliament, because number one, it shuts down on the commute, right? You need to keep the mistresses or the gigolos because, you know, equal opportunities. You must keep the mistresses in the Houses of Parliament because let's say Putin does the mad thing and he fires a missile at the UK. We can't waste the first 30 minutes getting all the ministers back from the hotels where they're having sex. All we would have to do is just walk down the corridor and knock on the stationery cupboard. The cleaners would get more equipment, because they wouldn't just be cleaning off vomit and wine from the walls. They also have to get one of those UV lights. Just give it a thorough scrubbing, yes. So in summary, I think that you should move your lover into your workspace because it means that you can get your affair done on the clock, and then you can go home and spend quality time with your wife and children.
I would just like to mirror what my colleague has said. Nepotism is a great British institution. And I mean, look at the royal family. Nothing's ever gone wrong there. But I think it should be compulsory. I think it should be compulsory for Tory politicians to hire their wives or husbands or partners, because that is probably going to be the only way to stop the Tories having affairs.
Have you got any questions you'd like to ask the spin doctors?
Well, the only thing that occurs to me is the photograph they're using to illustrate this whole story is rather tasteless. It appears to be taken at the moment in which Carrie was assassinated with a high-velocity bullet in the back of the head. I think mistresses should be given, and whatever is the male equivalent.
There is no male equivalent because you have mistress, and obviously it implies kept woman, but the male ones are rent boy, gigolo. We need to invent one where, like, you give the name to the dude who's only got his job because he's having sex with Ursula von der Leyen.
Victim.
What about...
Victim!
Well, splendid work, but ultimately it's up to me to decide who has the best spin, and I think the most compelling defence came from the red team.
Unbelievable.
So it's time for a break, but before we go, I'd just like to say that some of us legitimately give our mistresses jobs. Mine, for example, is one of the scriptwriters on the show, and if I don't tell my wife that I'm leaving her soon, I'm going to break into your house, rip up your cheap suits and boil your rabbits on the stove. We'll be right back after this.
I'm Mark Dolan. Join me at 11 on GBNews for Headliners, in which I'll be joined by two of the UK's top comedians discussing tomorrow's papers. If it's an important story, we'll cover it, but we'll have some fun along the way. Headliners, the late night paper review that won't send you to sleep like the others will. 7 nights a week at 11 p.m. on GB News.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence. Stranger things have happened recently. Younger people are discovering bush for the first time. It wasn't like that when I was their age. You couldn't move for bush. Pubes. We're still here with Leo Kearse, Simon Evans, Diane Spencer and Josh Howie. And it's time for our next round, Anti-Social Media. Yes, this is Anti-Social Media, in which we look at online reactions to people or events in the news this week and ask our teams to guess what is being talked about. OK, this is for both sides to guess. 60% eat pasta, a quarter have read Captain Corelli's Mandolin, one reports deep conversations with cousin. What are they talking about?
Is he talking about women?
Are you an expert on the fair sex there?
I certainly am, and I think I've nailed this already.
Yeah.
Is it the return of proper good old-fashioned fascism to Italy? After years of half-hearted populism, this is the real thing.
Checks out, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Pasta.
think so.
There you go. That's all you need to make it seem Italian. Any other early ideas?
Is it what percentage of people who own the book Captain Corelli's Mandolin have actually read Captain Corelli's Mandolin?
You don't need to because I made a film.
Yeah, duh.
We'll move on. See if this next message helps. Here's your next one. 2/3 like hummus, 3/4 have read Sally Rooney's Normal People, and over half say lounge instead of living room.
Just how boring are millennials?
Is this Leo Kearse's Guide to the Middle Class?
That's closer, but any other ideas?
Is it Leo Kearse's Guide to Women?
Let's see if this next one helps. Survey finds that a majority are in or seeking a romantic relationship and express affection towards their kids.
The Secret Life of Farmyard Goats.
It's not what we're looking for.
Ow.
Is it are men turning into women?
Teenagers who have promise rings.
For those who don't know, what is a promise ring?
A promise ring is where you promise not to have sex until you are married.
And then you get one of these and then you don't have sex.
Well, I can tell you that this is in response to the Daily Mail article from this week that went viral for suggesting that builders have gone woke.
Oh!
We had a builder in recently and he kept showing us his crack and we turned him down. Still haven't got through all that ketamine the plumber sold us. So apparently we've got woke builders. Builders
well, I'm looking forward to that. Those guys in the Navy video making a new one for UK builders.
Oi, oi.
Oi. Your pronouns are oi and oi.
Oi. Oi/oi.
Yeah.
Not showing off. I have still had a cat call or two from a builder, so not everything's gone. And now, because I'm over 40, I just go, thank you! And then I follow him home.
I think it's a great thing if UK builders are woke. I mean, I'd love it if they arrived before 11 o'clock.
Well, moving on, and just to warn you, these tweets are a little closer to home. Take a look at this and let me know who you think might be in the firing line. 1960s NASA scientist blank trips the multiverse between Babysham Glamourpuss blank and Feral Gorbals Fistbusker blank and blank, very adequate, keeping the seats warm for the inexorable final conflict, Jim Davison versus Ken Livingstone. Good luck. What's that about?
I think is that about this show? So you're the NASA scientist. Diane's obviously the Babysham Glamour.
Hey!
I don't think we've had a bald, slightly overweight Glamourpuss before. Feral Gorbals Fistbusker. That'd be me because that's Gorbals is in Glasgow.
It sounds about right. I can't see there seem to be two names at the bottom though.
I really don't want to be very adequate.
And you're achieving that, sir.
Please
You're
don't.
achieving that.
So NASA scientist is Steve, Glamourpuss is Diane, Gorbals Fistbusker is Leo. So that's me and Josh in the second line, keeping the seats warm for Jim Davison and Ken Livingstone. That's my final answer.
I think it's close enough. You've got to get the points. Let's see if you're right with this one. It's all of us except Simon. All right, here's your next one. Blank, I don't usually make personal comments, but I do like your yellow-grey combo this evening, on par with Kearse's lovely red outfits. Just something lovely about the yellow. Think it might have been one of the paint colours in infant school.
I recognise this lady. Rosalind Beck. Rosalind's a big fan of headliners. I don't know, I think it's got to be you, Diane, isn't it?
I don't think it's me, because yellow and grey with my complexion, no. It's more likely to be you, though.
No.
Oh, come on, surely you, the sartorial self.
No, yellow goes terrible with bald. It's got to be Leo. Leo's got, he's the other sartorial wizard.
I've got a yellow t-shirt. It cost £2 from Primark.
Blatantly going to be Steve or Leo.
It's got to be Leo.
Because of yellow, grey. Yellow's the t-shirt, the grey...
The jacket.
Oh, okay.
The jacket.
Not the...
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put my money on it being Steve.
It's definitely Leo.
All right.
Let's find out. It's actually Leo.
Ah!
It's difficult to tell whether that's really an insult or a compliment. Do you take it?
Well, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about me on Twitter.
That doesn't make it a compliment, does it?
No.
Could just be the least of all the insults.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your next one. A Headliners with Blank and Blank is like the new late-night black and white open university programme on BBC Two.
This is definitely not me because I am thick. So it's the smart peeps.
Or the very old peeps, if he's going for black and white.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who is smart and old?
I don't remember seeing this, and I comb the GB News Twitter feed for even the slightest tidbit of affection or even being noticed.
But maybe you don't remember it because, as Josh said, you're old.
I am old.
Find out. Anyone? Other ideas?
Steve, you
have a degree in chemistry.
Yeah. Pretty smart.
Yeah, so it's going to be Steve and Simon.
Okay.
Let's see if you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me and Simon. I'm taking that as a compliment as well. I think we have some very interesting discussions about Newtonian physics.
We do. Your tide needs to get a lot wider before your classic Open University era, though. That's what I remember about it mainly.
The thing is,
great kipper tie.
It is a wide kipper tie. I'm just that fat these days. Okay. Looks pretty straight now. Now, last week, someone suggested that Josh was as funny as a hedgehog stuffed up your ass. Well, it turns out the author of that tweet was watching and posted this update. I'm watching the Ministry of Offence on YouTube as I'm in Florida, and I just saw a tweet I made ages ago about you, Josh, hedgehog. But it was an old tweet and you've really grown on me, so I'm sorry. And then some smiley various faces.
Emojis that represent having a hedgehog up your ass.
So I'm not sure whether he's saying he now finds you funnier or he finds hedgehogs more pleasurable.
She's definitely saying that she thinks I'm the funniest person she's ever seen.
Right. Not that she now enjoys a good old hedgehog up the tradesman.
Who doesn't?
The hedgehog.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is really refreshing that somebody came onto Twitter to say something nice and also take back something they had said previously.
I was really looking forward to this round and they've ruined it.
Hello, Lisa in Florida.
How huge are your nipples that was the mime for the nipple?
No, that's my
Well, beautiful. Well, at the end of that round, the points go to the red team. And now it's time for the quickfire round. I'll be asking rapid-fire questions based on all of the news of the week. Our teams will have to buzz in to be the fastest to answer to gain the point, so fingers on buzzers. The Chinese government has banned what from a popular beach resort?
Germans.
It's not the right answer. Tesla cars have been banned because of the amount of sensors on them. Xi Jinping is worried that they could be spying on people.
Projection.
What did a vegan activist do to get the sack from a job as a veterinary nurse?
She was too weak to carry the animals, so she had to put them down.
Trained all the parrots to go, meat is murder.
Did she go on about it?
No, she hid a turkey. She hid a turkey that had been liberated in her shared accommodation at the Royal Veterinary College, where she wasn't allowed pets. So that was the problem. Doing what with a dog can land you a £5,000 fine. Or after. Yep.
Hiding it in your room at the Royal College of Veterinary.
Is it lowering it slowly on a rope into a high-end jewellery store to avoid the infrared detectors?
Driving with a dog unrestrained in a car. That's what you're not allowed to do.
Wow.
Name one item discovered at a mass Anglo-Saxon grave uncovered in Buckinghamshire.
A dead Anglo-Saxon.
Should have been, but it's not on the list.
I think it's a penis, like a drawing of a penis.
Explain more to me. Like a what?
A drawing of a penis.
Yeah.
Look, let me show you.
That mime, was that the mime for a penis? Because
that is 3 years of drama at Loughborough University. That is a penis, like that.
That's 3 years of marriage.
You could have had weapons, jewellery, clothing, and it says grooming kit. Not
Well,
like
there
that.
we are.
Just in Rotherham.
What has a Manchester man tattooed on his feet to save money?
Shoes or smart shoes or trainers or something, so it looks like he's wearing shoes so he can go into a nightclub.
Yep, he's had a pair of trainers tattooed so he doesn't have to buy new shoes. Genius. This guy is one condom tattoo away from never having to worry about kids. What is the Queen's favourite takeaway?
Friends can get you through a tough time. That's a takeaway from the Care Bears movie.
It's not what's on the card.
The Queen doesn't get takeaway. She's got chefs and stuff. She's not going to go like the Uber's going to rock up. And she'll be like, oh, let me just find some change.
I'd love that though, wouldn't you? She's like, have you got the burrito in there? This is the wrong drink. They bought the wrong drink. Charles, are you all right with 7-Up?
No, it was fish and chips. A footman is reportedly sent to a nearby town to collect them. That's a takeaway in her world. What clothing has been banned from some restaurants in Mallorca to tackle drunken tourism?
So it's an item of clothing that's been banned.
I can give you again.
Wait. I got it. Is it a sort of purple and green patterned tie-dye shirt with bits of white? Slightly too tight.
That would reduce drunken tourism, but...
Is it a bib?
It's not.
It's a prejudiced item of clothing. I reckon it's going to be like those triangle bikinis, but with Union Jacks or the St George Cross on them.
It's swimming trunks, football shirts and accessories from street vendors. What appeared in a residential street surprising Bexley Heath locals?
A big sinkhole.
Is the correct answer. And that is the end of the quickfire round, and the winners are the blue team. And that means that sadly we've also reached the end of the show. It was a closely fought battle, but congratulations to our winning team, the Blues.
After losing every battle.
We're striking! Strike!
To the winners, your prize, you get to go to Glastonbury. Unfortunately for the losers, you get to go to the Glastonbury Festival. Thanks to our team captains, Leo, Kearse and Diane Spencer. And to our guests this week, Simon Evans and Josh Howie. I've been your host, Stephen Allen, and we'll be back at the same time next week. See you then.